In 1936, one of the most drastic battles was about to hit Spain. Families were being torn apart and cities were being attacked. The Spanish Civil War. What people didn't foresee was this battle lasting almost 4 years and becoming so massive that several countries would also intervene. Ernest Hemingway took this opportunity to write and release one of his more well-known books, For Whom the Bell Tolls. This book tells of the struggle of one man in his fight for a country he didn't even belong to. Something vital about this novel is the fact that it doesn't remain strictly military or nihilistic. The main character, Robert Jordan, actually seems to take a different path than other characters of Hemingway's. Though Robert Jordan takes a cynical look on life, he still has a personality that would make you think, as a reader, that he has everything under control. This war plays an important role in the sequence of European events. The Republicans and the nationalists of the country are at war, and that naturally calls the attention of the rest of the continent. Germany and the Soviet Union actually begin to play major roles in this war. Throughout time, novels have been a way of teaching a lesson of history. You have stories that pay close attention to gruesome detail, but Hemingway handles that kind of detail as exactly that, and the character's life is always more important than their immediate surroundings. The recorded end of the Spanish Civil War is April 1st, 1939, 4 years after Hitler is appointed Chancellor of the Nazi Party in Germany. This election would eventually lead to one of the biggest wars in world history. The Spanish Civil War was actually one of the first wars to see the use of aerial bombing and tactics that would eventually help Hitler along the way in his own war. Wars tend to bring out the worst in people, by either affecting them in the most negative way or making people see the real darkness to their friends. Just like everyone's question of morality, each character in this novel has an internal struggle. Maria was a girl who was taken by the fascists to only lose her innocence by being raped and torn from any normal life she might have known. Robert Jordan goes to Spain to fight for something he thought he believed in, only to question if that is what he truly wants, when he realizes the true terror of fighting for something voluntarily. Something amazing about this character is the growth seen throughout the novel. He is a man that questions if killing another man is really worth it. He doesn't believe that even in his line of work, just killing a man to kill a man is justifiable. All of the main characters in the novel experience cynicism, wondering if the war that they are so dedicated to is really worth the real trauma it puts them through. This novel shows the true question of who am I? Something that every human may experience, a question of one's own self. In fact, Hemingway had his own question of self after volunteering for his own war. Quote, "In the first war, I now see, I was hurt very badly, in the body, mind, and spirit, and also morally." Something that many people take as the answer to this very important question is a significant other. Unlike Hemingway's other novels, you actually see these two people create a connection. And not only that, they make love several times and state things like, "It felt like the earth had moved." Something amazing that a lot of books that are written during the middle of the two world wars forgets is the importance of human connection and the way it can change a person's outlook on life. Hemingway had never created a book of detail where the two main characters were actively in love and looking into what the future would hold outside of the war. Like most wars, being male-dominated, the Spanish Civil War actually began to gain the attention of a large number of females in the country. In the novel, not only are men actively fighting, there are women who are also willing to risk their lives for something they believe in. A character that would exhibit this in the novel would be Pilar, the woman to another main character, Pablo. In fact, of the duo, Pilar is the one who seems to be the one making the decisions for the better of the group, exhibiting the power that women are starting to have. A direct contrast of a powerful Pilar is the weaker Maria. Though both women have seen trauma, throughout the war, Pilar seems to have a better way of handling it, and using it to help her make decisions for the better of the group. In fact, Hemingway gives one of the most important messages of the book to Pilar, a strong female lead. It was believed he wanted to show the world what a strong woman can look like. The war was calling to arms any gender, especially with such a divided group of people like the Republicans. Pilar has seen all of the war from the stance of a guerrilla fighter, standing side by side with men to fight for a war for their country, until she finds Maria, a girl who seems to have had all the fight taken out of her. But, in an article titled, "Always Something of It Remains, Sexual Trauma in Ernest Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls," author Natalie Carter states there might be more to Maria than meets the eye, though often called rabid and described of as a cult. Carter describes Maria as being one of Hemingway's icebergs. Icebergs are known to have over 70% concealed in water. Quote, "On the surface, she is indeed everything critics have accused her of, docile, meek, and infuriatingly subservient. However, I would argue that there is a much more interesting and complex identity under the surface, one that is revealed by an examination of Maria's character informed by trauma theory." End quote. Carter. She goes on to state that Maria is merely trying to find herself while in a world shrouded by constant trauma and conflicting strong personalities, and she is most certainly not meek. She is a resilient survivor of multiple horrifying traumas. This Maria, the 7/8 of the iceberg, is a fighter, in every possible sense of the word. Carter, end quote. On the surface, one of the female characters in the novel seems to be the ideal image of a subservient woman. But Hemingway takes two female characters and makes them out to be strong characters with depth and definition.